by modeling taking a true lunch break away from the cell phone,
Mhm.
away from screens. I mean, a real break. Let's not kid ourselves. Scrolling on Instagram is not a break. But modeling that for your team is a huge leadership skill
For sure.
because it gives them the tools to be able to refuel, and they show up in such a better way in the afternoon.
Welcome back to another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Today's episode is one that hits deep, especially for the high achieving woman who knows how to run at full speed but struggles to sit still without feeling like everything will fall to pieces. All right, so today we're talking about what happens when slowing down feels dangerous, when rest triggers panic, when stillness feels foreign, and when your nervous system has been pushed so far for so long that you don't know who you are without the hustle. So, to help us explore this, I'm so excited. I'm joined by the incredible Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy. Hey, Dr. Tarryn, how are you, my dear?
Oh, so good, Charyse. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me. I've been so excited about this conversation.
Same here. So, you guys, let me share with you a little bit about the magnificence of who Dr. Tarryn is. So, after only 7 years as a clinical orthodontist and solo practice owner, Tarryn hit a level of burnout so severe that she walked away from everything, fire selling her practice, leaving the state, and trying to outrun the life that was collapsing around her. But the one thing that she couldn't outrun was what? Herself. We know this. It was herself. So, what followed became a profound journey of healing, of reconnection, and ultimately reinvention,
Mm.
leading her to open the largest Invisalign practice in her state and later to her true calling. Now, with over 25 years of clinical experience, Taryn is a self leadership and stress management coach for high achieving women and business owners. She's an orthodontist, author, keynote speaker, somatic and mindset coach, rapid transformational therapist, and the host of the Business of Happiness podcast. Through her signature program, Radical Happiness, she teaches clinicians and leaders how to stop feeling trapped by their work, regulate their nervous systems, and create success from the inside out, because that's where sustainable change actually happens. This conversation is going to speak to your soul. I know that it will. So let's dive in. Again, welcome, Taryn.
Oh, so good. I'm so honored. And I just love being here in your community because I know how aligned both of our messages are in terms of taking care of yourself in the beautiful, purposeful, driven businesses that we create.
Yeah, yeah. And y'all, I just want to share, just take a moment to acknowledge Taryn. Taryn is, as I mean, you can hear it in her voice. She's such a beautiful soul, like a beautiful soul. That's the best way that I can describe Taryn. And I knew from the very first time I met Taryn. Taryn and I met maybe probably what, 3 years ago,
I
something
think
like that,
so. Yeah.
at a conference. It was Powerhouse. It was in January. So we met there, and instantly I'm like, this. She's my soul sister. I don't know what it is, but I just felt so connected to you. And then once we learned a little bit more about each other, I mean, we have so many similarities. Yes, being in healthcare, but just I think
Mm.
just our take on life and our understanding of the importance of prioritizing self and prioritizing our nervous system, and really creating and building something different than what's been modeled for us in the healthcare space, right?
Yeah. And now my son lives in your city. So I feel like a little
I
piece of me is right near you all the time.
I know. Next time you come to visit, we're definitely gonna have to
Oh my
do some
gosh.
things for sure.
I
Coffee,
love it.
lunch, all the things. So yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when you think about the title of this podcast episode, When Slowing Down Feels Dangerous, what comes up for you initially?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that because, I remember knowing for a very long time when I was so embedded in the hustle, embedded in overdoing, overgiving,
Mhm.
That's important because I think all of us women in
Mhm.
healthcare, we're so good at taking care of everyone else.
Yep.
And, there was an awareness in me for a while that I was doing that I was burning the candle at both ends, that I was overgiving. I was noticing my body suffering, my relationship suffering, my marriage suffering. I was noticing, and I knew it was related to me overworking. That work ethic that we value
Mhm.
so deeply that was embedded and ingrained in us from a very young age that brought us enormous success.
Right.
But there comes a moment in our lives where we realize, oh, wait a minute, I need to do this differently. And yet, every time someone said the word self care, I wanted to rip my hair out because it felt so terrifying to me. Not, first of all, it felt like another thing to do.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Now I got to also do self care.
Mhm.
It's like I couldn't even think of, resting for 5 minutes, let alone create my week, meal plan or sign up for a class at the gym. Like, I felt like I had no time for myself. So it f it actually caused me stress to think about taking care of myself. It actually increased the adrenaline in my body instead of making me feel good. And if one more person said the word bubble bath, I mean, I would get into a bath and I'd feel like, "Oh my gosh, my skin, I wanna jump out of my skin." It didn't feel relaxing. It felt dangerous. It felt
Yeah.
terrifying. I'll never forget, I have this memory of I realized, okay, I'm doing too much. I'm exhausted. I'm snapping at my kids. I'm snapping at my team members. I'm not taking care of my body. I'm going to start really taking care of myself. So I remember I scheduled my patient care that day to end at 4:30. I thought, okay, I'm going to end at 4:30. I remember at the time I had a nanny at home for my kids and she wasn't getting leaving until 6. I
Mhm.
thought, okay, I have an hour and a half. I'm not gonna go to the grocery store. I'm not gonna squeeze in another errand, which is what we do when
Oh,
we
yeah.
have free time. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna check my emails or get as much done in this time as possible. I'm gonna literally do me. I'm just gonna relax. I'm gonna take care of myself, and I'll never forget, I'm so proud of myself because I told my team ahead of time. I said, "I'm leaving at 4:30. There's no doctor, can you just check this last patient? There's no look at this last lab slip. I'm leaving at 4:30." And I proudly, it was a Tuesday. This is how monumental this
Yes.
day
I
was.
love this.
And I walked out, the sun was still out, it was warm, and I'm so happy. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've got this hour and a half. I've done it. I've created boundaries. I've made time for myself." And I got into my car and I closed the door and I burst into tears
Oh.
because I literally didn't know what to do. I didn't
Oh.
know what that looked like.
Yeah.
And I knew that it didn't feel familiar. It felt so foreign to even think about having an hour and a half just for me. I mean, I could think of a million chores.
Mhm.
I could think of a million things I could get done. But when I set that parameter for me of, no, you're not going to accomplish, you're not going to have a productivity hour, you're going to just take this time for you. I didn't even know what that looked like. And to me, that was a huge discovery
Yeah.
that my body actually didn't feel safe in calm. And then I started reflecting, when my kids were little, I remembered we'd go to the playground and I would get so antsy. We'd
Mhm.
go to, I'd take them to the playground because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's
Right.
what
Oh
a
god,
good
that's so
mom
good.
does.
Yes.
And we'd go to the playground and they'd go down the slide twice or I'd push them on the swing twice. I was like, okay, now what? Like,
Yeah.
let's
Let's
get
go.
go. Let's go. Yeah. And I noticed this pattern from a very young age of just the need to be constantly moving,
Yeah.
the need to be constantly productive. Anytime there was, guests at the house and we'd be sitting chatting, I'd be up doing the dishes. Or even if I was visiting friends' homes
Mhm.
in their home and we'd complete the meal, I'm the first one clearing the table, going to wash the dishes because I felt very uncomfortable in just slowing down,
Dr. Taryn, you have said a whole word.
right?
And I know there are many people right now that if they were driving, they probably pulled over um, as they're listening to this. But I know that there's so many who can relate to that, not feeling like feeling that they have to be doing all the time and feeling guilty if they're not, even if
Oh,
they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, like at, I say air quotes, supposed to be doing, right? They're
yeah,
at the park with their kids. They're supposed to be having fun with their kids and pushing and
yeah,
sliding and laughing and gallivanting and all the
yeah.
things. And yet they feel guilty.
And I love that word guilty because it's actually compounded, because not only do you feel guilty not
Right.
being productive, because that's
Right.
how you've built your whole life,
Mhm.
but then the shame sets in.
Let's talk
Oh
about it.
my gosh, I never sat down and played Barbies with my girls. Never. I don't
Yeah.
remember a day ever doing that. Because I physically couldn't. I wasn't able to slow down, and when I had that realization, I felt like there was something wrong with me. I
Mhm.
am getting emotional just thinking about it, because I think for those of you moms out there, like, that's such a valuable thing,
Yeah.
thinking about their childhood, that I never was able to calm my before I learned how. I
Yeah.
was never able to calm my body down enough to actually play with toys with them, or just be slow, just
Mhm.
be sitting by a riverbed. And I think a part of that sadness that I'm feeling now is I also feel really sad for younger me,
Mm.
who
Yeah.
never gave herself that minute to breathe, to slow down. And I just, if you're listening, I just wanna honor you if you're recognizing that pattern in yourself, because there's a part of you that feels the need to be loved and seen, that many of us grew up not learning how to find safety in that quiet moment. I think many women who are drawn to healthcare, who are drawn to business ownership, who are drawn to high achievement. We really had that fostered for us at a very young age, of either feeling instability in our homes in our younger years, like you had to constantly be vigilant and paying
Mhm.
attention, because at any moment someone could yell, someone could get, physically abusive, or someone could be emotionally or, you know, verbally abusive, and so you had to constantly be on the lookout, and so we learned to be very vigilant and protective and constantly have those feelers out there, or that we felt like we needed to be achieving all the time just to be seen.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so for many of us, that meant if I'm not doing or accomplishing, I'm not actually worthy of love,
Worthy. That's it.
you
That's it.
know? And I think that shame was very big part of learning how to love myself again, was recognizing the shame that I held about myself. What's wrong
Mhm.
with me? Why can't I slow down? Why do other women book massages and pedicures and they enjoy it, and for me it's literally a chore. It's a
Mhm.
scary thing to slow down, where I can't imagine, you know, taking a day off and not going and running a million errands. I was so
Yeah.
used to taking a day off and then filling it with more to-dos
Yes. Right.
than I had when I was working.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And I can totally relate to that as well. What do you do? Because you made it very clear, bubble baths are not your thing, and I'm just the opposite. I'll take one of my every day. Pretty much every day. I take a 1 to 2 hour bath. I'm serious. I am
Girl,
no exaggeration. My
I love
husband,
that.
sometimes my husband will come in and he's like, "The meat's falling off the bone at this point, isn't it?" Like he's like, "Are you stewing? Like what are you doing?" He's like, "You're tender by now, huh?" He's
I love it.
hilarious. But so, what do you do? What? Well, two things. How did you get to a place where slowing down didn't feel dangerous?
Mm.
And what do you now do that does bring you joy? It's not bubble baths, but what do you do that does bring you joy and refill your cup and adds to you and your being?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think the first thing was I realized that shaming myself was actually getting in the way
Yeah.
of me allowing myself to experience what slowing down felt like.
Mhm.
Because whenever we tell ourselves, like, I'm so terrible for not having played Barbies, I'm so terrible for not knowing how to slow down, I'm not that person who could, it actually kicks our nervous system back into overdrive, into
Mhm.
sympathetic fight or flight. And so what I realized is I first had to actually love myself through that
Yeah,
moment and hold grace and recognize, oh, babe, you just never learned how. You just never, it's okay that you didn't do that. You just were never modeled that as a
right.
child. And you did what you did in order to get to where you are, but now it's time for something new. It's
Yeah.
this tender moment that I was starting to hold for myself. And I think crying that day in my Jeep as I sat in the parking lot was actually very healing because
Mhm.
there was a part of me that needed to mourn that that younger me. And I also recognized that I'd been flexing this go, go, go muscle for so
Mhm.
long that now I needed to start practicing
Yeah.
relaxing. And it's funny because I also at the time was really starting to learn more about personal development, and I'd listen to these podcasts and they'd be talking about, you know, compounding your effort and how showing up no matter what, like all
Mhm.
these like how can I maximize and optimize
Yeah.
constantly? And I thought, holy moly, that I've got down. I
Right.
don't need to
Oh,
learn
we've got
that.
that. Oh, yeah, we've got that now down pat. Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody needs to tell me to get up in the morning. I got that. I'll get up in the morning. It's it was learning how to slow down.
Yeah.
And I gave myself permission to learn how. And that was really the first step is
Good for you.
giving myself permission to start to learn how to slow down. I didn't have to get it 100% right,
Mhm.
but just start that 1% of getting comfortable and teaching my body that it was safe. So
Yeah.
part of that meant celebrating it. So I
Yes.
sat in that car and I cried and I didn't go anywhere and I didn't turn on a podcast and I didn't learn anything. And then I just put my hand on my heart and I said, "You did it, babe. You slowed down. You didn't try to accomplish." And it sounds crazy that we need to teach ourselves how to slow down, but literally it's a practice. And it's a
Indeed.
necessary practice for high achievers, like us, is learning how to recognize I'm safe right now. The world didn't blow up.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. I didn't get fall behind on anything. The emails were still there the next day. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. Nothing shifted. Nobody died. But I needed to remind my body that it was safe.
Yeah.
And, to this day, there's still a part of me, and I practice slowing down every day. And there's still a part of me that will find at moments this little voice in the back of my head that says, keep going, just push through, just put it off, and I need to literally stop and pay attention and realize, oh no, babe, I'm giving yourself permission right now to slow down,
Yeah.
even for the next 60 seconds.
And sometimes that's all it takes.
All it takes is
Yeah.
just that little moment of familiarity. So now I pay attention. I pay attention to that voice that says, get up and go. And one of my favorite things is to just allow myself a little longer in this conversation, a little longer in this moment. We were just
That's good.
having family over this weekend, and I was sitting at the dining table looking at my mom, and she was sharing her story, and she's getting older. So now the stories become repeated.
Right. So I can finish the story for you. I
But
know this one.
yeah, exactly. And it gets longer and longer and longer. And I thought, just sit a little longer, babe.
Yeah.
Before you cut her off, just sit a little longer. Just sit back, take a breath, take a
Mhm.
deep breath, and just remind my body. And sometimes I'm literally saying to myself inside my own head, you're safe to sit and take another minute. It's okay to sit and breathe for another minute.
Yeah.
And even just that permission, that recognizing, I think it's so funny, like, who was it? Was it Oprah that used to say, "Everybody just wants to feel seen."
Mhm.
Everybody just wants to feel seen. There's a part of you that just wants to feel seen. I am running 100 miles an hour and I'm exhausted and I'm scared to slow down. That part of you just wants to be seen.
Yeah,
That
it's so
part
true.
of Isn't that so true? Like
So
that
true.
even that part of you wants to be acknowledged
Mhm.
and given permission and being held and said, "It's safe to slow down."
Yeah, as you're sharing that, Taryn, I mean, what's coming up for me is someone listening, thinking, okay, well, when I get there, wherever the there is,
Mm,
then I'll do that. Like, oh, they're talking about when you finally, air quote, make it, or when you finally, air quote, get there, attain a certain level of success, whether that's a revenue goal or whatever. And so, for the woman who's listening and they're hearing it from that perspective, from that lens, like, okay, they're there. That's why they can have this conversation. What
yeah.
would you say to her?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Thank you for saying this. I was speaking on stage about a year ago, and I was posing the question to the audience, what will it take for you to give yourself permission to slow down?
Hmm.
And one of the, I was calling some people had their hands up, and I called one of the women in the audience, and she said, and I'm this is a true story. She said, cancer,
Oh, whoa.
I,
Wow.
out loud. And I said, wow, isn't that interesting? And I said, thank you for saying what everyone else was thinking,
Yeah.
is that we either tell ourselves, I'll do it when I get to that next goal that I'm going to reach, or it will take disaster
Hmm.
for me to slow down because that's not who I am. And we give ourselves that kind of out to
Hmm.
take care of ourselves. Like
And
that's not who
that's
I am. I'm the one that doesn't stop. I'm the one we have a certain kind of a
well, we carry it as a badge of
badge of
honor.
honor.
Yes.
Yes. And we recognize that. And I think for that woman who's thinking, let me delay it or let me wait till absolute burnout before I change anything, which many women consider, when I get to the point where I'm absolutely can't do it anymore,
Then I will. Then
then I will.
yeah.
I just want to offer you first so much love and grace. And I think that's honestly where it starts.
Hmm.
The moment you love yourself, you can just see yourself, see that part of you who's crying out for love and view it as that woman in the audience who had that response, and immediately my heart sank for her.
Yeah.
That immediately I thought, "Oh babe, I'm just going to come down out of the off the stage and hold you."
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating that when we give ourselves that moment of recognition, the tears come because there's a part of you that's exhausted.
Hmm.
There's a part of you that doesn't feel safe to slow down. And what's really beautiful is we get to give ourselves that safety. Nobody's bringing it for you. No
Right.
one's going to hold it for you. And although that feels sad in some regards, that man, there's no man in shining armor on a white horse
Yeah. Right.
showing up to rescue you. There is you,
Hmm.
and you have the power to give that to yourself. But it takes a moment of giving yourself some grace
Yeah.
and loving yourself through that moment and not self-shaming and not
Mm.
berating yourself or pushing yourself to prove your worthiness of slowing
Yes.
down.
And I think that is a habit, if you will, or culture even that we are immersed in, the having to constantly prove, having to constantly do and go and achieve so that we can be worthy, feel worthy, be seen as worthy.
That's it. You
Yeah.
do not have to make another dollar. You do not have to lose another pound. You do not have to get another certification
Yeah.
to be worthy of slowing down. And
Yes.
what's really beautiful is when you do give yourself that permission, all those small things that you were stressed about
Yeah.
become so insignificant. All those things that felt so big and overwhelming that were pushing you to keep going, that felt so urgent,
Hmm.
you see from a place of, wow, this is so unimportant.
Yeah.
It felt so urgent and important when I was going without stopping.
Yeah. Because your
But
nervous system is jacked up.
yes, yes, and every mole looks like a mountain.
Yep.
Every molehill looks like a mountain. But when you give yourself that chance to just be present in the moment and to slow down and give yourself some grace around making that comfortable too. If it feels uncomfortable, that's okay. You're learning something new, which is
Do.
powerful,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
powerful. And it's not like a light switch either. It's not like
Mm-mm.
you learn to slow down. You're like, I'm there.
Did it, done it. No.
No,
Yeah, no.
it's a real practice, and I say that from experience because every now and then I'll catch myself again, especially when I'm really passionate about a project,
Yeah.
I'm really excited about something, I can burn the midnight oil.
Oh, yeah, we all can.
That comes back easily, you
Yeah.
know, and it's been interesting because 'cause I've had to navigate who I work with very
Mhm.
carefully because there are some people who, when we work together, we will push each other.
Yep.
And we will go there, and we get a little adrenaline high out of it, and I know for me, that's playing with fire.
Yeah. And so, okay, what you said is really, really important is knowing yourself. Because I think there, and we all have different seasons. We go through different seasons in life and in business where we do want to pair up with that person to like, go, let's get it, girl. Like you're my literally my running buddy, and we're gonna knock this thing
Yes.
out. And equally as important to also know yourself and protect your I would say protect yourself from yourself, because if you know that that's like your thing, because that's my thing. I will listen when I get excited about or passionate about something. Oh, it's a wrap.
Oh,
To heck with
it's so
everything.
fun.
It's
It's
so
so
fun. The
fun.
adrenaline, the excitement, the all the things, the achieving all the things, right? But it's important to understand or to recognize who you are
Yes.
and be aware of, okay, am I getting out of balance here? Am I going, to the extreme? Do I need to take some time to rest? One thing I mentioned to you when we're off camera is that I look at rest as part of my business strategy.
100%. I mean, high achieving, high performing athletes do.
Absolutely, they do.
It's an integral part. You have to have your day of rest. It's
Yeah,
not a question, it's how you optimize.
yeah,
And, you know, I love you mentioned having a running buddy. Hell yeah, all day to that. And important to have a buddy who is a safe space to slow down with. For
yes,
me, that accountability matters. I love having someone who I
yeah,
get excited and I'm ready to go and create and grow and
yep,
build. I mean, I will never tell any of my clients don't have those big goals. Have the
mhm,
big goals.
absolutely.
That's a part of life. That's what keeps us feeling alive.
Mhm,
And find yourself someone who feels really safe and good at slowing down.
yeah,
And I have a friend like that right now, and I'll give a shout out to Jess. Jess is so good at that, and it feels so good to be in her company, and I make sure I stay connected with her because she helps me stay grounded in that sense and
yeah.
give myself permission to slow down.
I love that, and I have 2 people immediately come to mind. I call them my spa buddies.
Yeah.
Like, it's we go to the spa, we spend the whole day there, and guilt-free, like, we literally
See?
it's like, "Okay, spa time. Okay, what's the schedule look like?" I mean, seriously, and again, and they're, high achievers, I mean, built running multiple seven-figure businesses, and, and we recognize, okay, it's time to we got it's spa day. It's time to slow
Yeah.
down and go to spa day.
And I
And
love that having someone else to model it for you so that it
yeah,
feels safer in your body. You know, there's a lot to be said for I don't know about you and your childhood necessarily, but my parents ingrained in me a work ethic that
yeah,
is hardcore, and
yeah,
that's what was modeled for me.
same.
So I need that co-regulation from
Mhm.
someone else to model for me what it looks like to sit. I love that idea of you and your friends in the spa of I'm looking at you, you're breathing deeply, you're leaning back. By the way, Miss Williams, you and I went to a spa together one
We
day,
did. Wasn't that
and it
fabulous?
was so fabulous because you fell fast asleep.
I did. That's what my body needed. It was like, okay,
And
it's time to shut it down.
and let me tell you, I remember that moment because that meant a lot to me. It was permission for me. I was there with my notebook. I was ready to take notes on how
Yeah,
slowing down I was and how I looked over at you and I thought, "Damn, girl, you know how to do this." And I appreciate that and I value that
yeah,
because that's a necessary component of creating beautiful things in this world. You know, and I think even if we think about ourselves as mothers in that like beautiful, natural, creative process, just for a moment, can we have a shout out to all the moms out there who
right.
literally create life?
Yeah,
Why there is not a front page news spread every time a woman gives birth to a human being?
I know.
is beyond me. But the importance of slowing down, your body tells you to when you're
Mhm.
pregnant. You don't have a
We
choice.
don't have a choice.
And how much we can learn from that natural process of we need to slow down in order to speed up, in
It's so
order to create.
it's so true.
Yeah.
It is so true. And we had this conversation before about when we do take the time to slow down, we get those downloads, we get our creativity is sparked. Things, what may have taken us 4 hours to resolve an issue, a problem, we can now, it's like we get this download and we get the solution. I mentioned to you on my walks, like I'll be doing my own thing, not even thinking about a problem, but something will just literally just land. I'm like, oh, solution to that problem that I wasn't even actively thinking about. But that's what happens when you give yourself permission to slow down.
Yeah. And you just identified one of the most powerful ways to do that, and that is nature.
Oh
For
gosh,
me,
yes.
it's nature all day. If I
Mhm.
can get out onto the trails and go for a walk with my dogs, breathing fresh air, that is exactly where my downloads happen. That is where my creative moments happen. And nature reminds you to slow down. And isn't it incredible when we look out at nature and the miracles that are happening all around us in slowing down,
I know.
in taking its sweet time,
Yep.
and the incredible impact that that has, and the incredible outcomes that come from it. We can
For
learn so
sure.
much from it. Mm.
We can. And just taking that one step further, when we're outside and nature is moving about in a very slow and rhythmic way, naturally we start to mimic that. Slow,
Mhm.
rhythmic, our breathing slows down, our body switches out of that sympathetic state into parasympathetic
Yep.
naturally without us
Yeah.
even having to effort. It just happens. And so I know there's you're up there in Maine. I'm in Texas and I'm freezing. It's 50 degrees when I went walking this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
So
come now.
I
Come
know.
now.
So you said nature. For everyone who thought, oh my God, it's so cold. Nature. What do you do, Taryn? What do you do living in Maine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Loving
And,
nature.
it's not just the cold, but it gets dark here.
Oh yeah.
We're the eastmost state in the
Mhm.
country, and so 4 4:15, it's dark. You
Yeah.
cannot read outside at 4:15 in the afternoon. My daughter comes home from school in the dark, and really, unlike, I know you like to take the mornings to yourself, I like to be really I in the morning, I get up and I slow down intentionally with meditation, which for me is a non-negotiable. That's one of my deep practices because it trains my body to slow down and start from that place of slowness. But then very soon after, I'm hitting the road running
Yep.
with work, and I end my day early and I get outside. But what we noticed is in the wintertime, it's dark.
Mhm.
And so getting out into nature is still a requirement for me on a daily basis. So my husband actually tacked up little reflectors in the woods for me, and we started night hiking.
What?
Yes,
That
with a
sounds really
headlamp.
fun.
It's so fun. It's exhilarating. It's
Oh
so
my gosh.
exhilarating. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I'll tell you, it's a whole thing, and we haven't been eaten yet. Like, nothing bad happens at night. Um, but, we just dress for the cold in Maine. You put on
Layer
layers.
up
You
and
and let
make
me
it
tell you,
happen.
that crisp air,
Yeah.
oh, it's so
It
exhilarating.
is exhilarating. Yes.
And I love what you said about our body mimicking that regulation, that slowing down, that new cadence of
Mhm.
nature. And we can look at that as a spa buddy in a sense.
Mhm.
Nature becomes that modeling that for us. And the other thing that happens when we step into nature, if you can remember the last time you were at a beach or on top of a mountaintop, what's the first thing you did? You went,
Yeah, you breathe it all in.
you breathe, and
Yeah.
evidence that your body is stepping into that parasympathetic calm.
So
It's
true.
like a drug. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's the way we're meant to be, is getting outside, and I think we spend so many hours of the day looking at our little
Mhm.
phones up close, staring at the computer screens. We don't realize the sympathetic nervous system fight or flight that we're in constantly,
Mhm.
and
We've
giving ourselves.
normalized it. We
We've
we we don't we have no I knew I didn't think I never gave it 2 thoughts.
No.
It was my way of being. And it felt normal
Yeah,
until it doesn't.
absolutely.
Until you intentionally prioritize
Yeah,
your nervous system and you start incorporating some type of nervous system regulation practices, you don't have anything to compare it to. So you think you're good. I thought
yeah,
I was
yeah,
until I had something to compare it to. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this is different.
And one of the easiest ways to do that is to get into nature.
Yeah.
It really is, and, a friend of mine, she lives in New York City, and she gets into nature, she finds a piece of green space. She
Okay.
finds you can find space to
Yeah.
get outside. We all have access to it. It's a matter of just prioritizing it and recognizing that's actually the natural way of living, and we get
Hmm.
to return to it, and, like you say, I love hearing you talk about breathing and breath work being free. Getting into nature is free too.
It is.
It's just opening your door and getting outside and stepping away from the computer, stepping away from your cell phone, and giving yourself permission to let slowing down be a practice. And the
Mhm.
other thing I think that many people fear is, if I start slowing down, am I going to just turn off and,
Right.
find myself on a couch eating bonbons all day, 2 years
Right.
down the road? And it's actually not true, because in those moments is where you get inspired and excited
Mhm.
for the next thing, and you regain fuel and energy. It actually is what gives you back the motivation that you've been hunting for so long.
It's so true. And that's why I say rest is a business strategy.
Totally.
Because when you're resting, not that, I don't intentionally rest so that I can get these downloads. I rest because I know that that's what my body needs and that I'm going to be rejuvenated,
Yeah.
re-energized. Things are going to just drop in, creative ideas. And so I look forward to
I know, it
rest.
feels so good.
It does. And nothing. And I think you mentioned, a potential concern or fear that if I allow myself to slow down, will I turn off? Like, will my drive turn off or any of that? But I also think there may be that there's likely a subconscious fear as well that my business is not going to continue to grow. I'm not
Oh,
going to
yeah.
continue to scale if I allow myself to rest
Or my team.
or my team.
That's a big one that I see, at least in the dental space, is there's
Mhm.
a lot of anxiety around, "Oh, she's slacking off on the job. Are they not constantly performing? Are they taking a break?" And I noticed I was doing myself a disservice by expecting that of all my team members, to be hustling all the time, and
Mm,
that their performance was so much more efficient, so much more clear, so many fewer mistakes were made when I modeled for them. Because this is what I hear from a lot of business owners, is a fear of slowing down at lunch breaks, for example. So I'm a huge advocate of taking a purposeful break in the middle of the day. Yes, all throughout the day, these micro breaks, but a real reset in the middle of the day, especially in patient care. Get your body outside, leave the office, do not answer emails and
yeah,
get 10 more things done, but literally getting away. And so many women leaders will say to me, "Well, I feel bad because my team is working during lunch, they're working through lunch." And I realize, by modeling taking a true lunch break away from the cell phone,
mhm,
away from screens, I mean, a real break. Let's not kid ourselves. Scrolling on Instagram is not a break. But modeling that for your team is a huge leadership skill,
for sure.
because it gives them the tools to be able to refuel, and they show up in such a better way in the afternoon.
Yeah,
And so it's actually a great gift. We get to actually break that generational pattern as well in medicine and dentistry that has been modeled for us since since schooling, of
Right.
just working through lunch and pushing through in these
Holding
14-hour
your pee.
days, holding your pee,
Oh my gosh.
and there's no reason for it. It's actually
Mhm,
the opposite. It's
mhm.
exactly what you were saying. When we take a break and we rest with intention, when we ask for what we need and our bodies need, we actually are so much more efficient and
It's true.
can give so much more.
It is so true. And it's it's sad. I'm going to choose to use the word sad. It's sad that this hasn't been modeled mainstream.
Yes.
I think it's starting to be with brilliant, people like you. With me, this is how I teach my clients and I model for my clients. But so I think it's becoming a bit more mainstream. We have, colleagues and mentors who are in the same line of work, or in the same line of thought, and share this with, like, this is part of how they impact the world.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a shame that it hasn't been introduced sooner, I
Yeah.
think. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Oprah says, when you know better, you do better.
Exactly. And we get
Yeah,
to herald this new path
so
forward,
true.
which is so exciting.
It is.
And we get to teach our daughters a different way of success,
And
a
our
more
sons.
and our sons. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I do have a lot of hope in this generation. They
Yeah.
really know where the importance is. They know how to take time for themselves and to prioritize themselves, and so I'm actually learning so much from my kids
Yeah.
in that regard.
Yeah, I love that. And so, a couple of things you shared as we begin to wrap up, and we're going to jump into our rapid fire in just a second. But a couple of things that I heard you say that works for you is starting your day with meditation,
Yes.
getting out in nature.
Yes.
You mentioned breathing breaks, taking intentional breathing breaks throughout your day, those little micro breaks, 60 seconds, 90 seconds.
Mhm.
Yeah. Are there any other things that you would like to share, since, again, bubble baths ain't your thing?
Yeah. They're
Oh my,
not. They're
it's
not.
I know,
But,
I get it.
I think,
You've got to find the thing that works for you. Like I said,
well
if it makes your skin crawl, that ain't it. Don't
well
do that. Take that off the list.
And that's a great point. It's grace and
Yeah.
loving yourself through it and not shaming yourself, because you don't love bubble baths. I the
Mhm.
shaming that
Yeah.
I the self-shaming of myself was actually doing the opposite,
Right.
So giving yourself grace, if that's not your thing, what else is there? But not
Yeah.
giving yourself the, punishment. It really is a
I
self-punishment.
should do this. Like,
Mm.
everyone likes to do this. I should do this. I saw something
Yeah.
just recently. Someone posted online, they said, I don't care what anyone says, getting a manicure and a pedicure is not soothing. And for some, it is. And
Yeah.
for others, clearly, it is not. Same thing with bubble bath. Same thing. So I love that you said, give yourself the grace and
Yes.
give yourself the permission to explore. See, I think that's one thing that we don't often or enough give ourselves permission to explore what does feel good for us.
Yes, and
What?
this is a
Mhm.
classic trait of high achievers who
Yeah.
have achieved a certain level of success. It's
Mhm.
almost like it becomes a ceiling because we tell ourselves, "I can't be new at something." When
Mhm.
you're really good at something, you think, "Well, I'm not gonna do that because 'cause I'll be an infant in that
Right.
arena, or I'll
Mhm.
just be such a novice, I'll be embarrassing myself." But there's actually great power in giving yourself permission to be exploring something new for the first time and be bad at it. Be stumbling at it. Be curious about how that world works. It's so great, not just for your hippocampus and for all the many different reasons, but it's a great way to start exploring slowing down as well.
Mhm.
Let
Yeah.
it be ugly. Let it be silly. Let it be, stumbling through it, but
Yeah.
giving yourself that recognition and celebration of, all right, I did something scary. I tried
For
slowing down
myself.
for myself. Yeah,
So good,
so good.
Taryn. Oh my gosh. All right. We've covered so much. You ready for some rapid fire?
Let's do it.
A little bit of fun here. Not that this has not been fun, but okay. So, who was your celebrity childhood crush?
Oh, okay, let's see, my celebrity childhood crush. Hmm. I grew up in South Africa,
Oh,
and
that's
we didn't have access. I didn't have a lot of, it was pre-internet, and we didn't have a ton of TV. So I think the only thing I can remember was Knight Rider.
oh, David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff. Oh my gosh, imagine that.
That is
Imagine that.
hilarious.
Yeah, that was my Can you believe it? Man,
Oh
that is
my,
so funny. Yeah, Knight Rider. And Knight Rider actually came to South Africa one year. And
really?
it was a big deal. Let me tell you. We all ran down to that shopping center and we saw Knight Rider. Yeah. Yeah. It was cool.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. All right, so if you were stuck on a deserted island, what's the one item, not a person, but what's the one item you would have to have?
No doubt my journal. No
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
I process so much through writing, and that was actually a really great step into slowing down for me too, was a permission slip of journaling, and it started for me with just journaling on gratitude, like
Mhm.
what I'm grateful for today. But I found that I process a lot through paper and pen, so I think it would have to be my journal.
That's powerful.
Mm,
That's powerful. Yeah, and that is such a beautiful. If you're listening and you don't know where to start, I think that's a really great place
yeah.
to explore it. See how it feels. And again, it might feel uncomfortable at first because you are slowing down, but you might
Mm,
find that it actually feels very good. And if you're like, okay, what do I journal on? Gratitude. I'm so
mm.
happy and grateful for. I'm so happy and grateful now that.
Yeah,
Dot
it's
dot
a
dot dot
great
dot.
gateway drug. And
Yeah.
then, I would say the next level in gratitude journaling is starting to be grateful for yourself. I'm so grateful for myself that dot dot dot.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
it's easy to say I'm grateful for my sister, I'm grateful for my wife,
Mhm.
I'm grateful for my kids, but when you can start actually feeling gratitude for yourself, that's a
Yeah.
game changer.
And to add to that, I agree
Yes,
1,000%. To add to that, tack on the word because.
totally.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah,
grateful for myself, or I'm so grateful that I did, or that I, whatever, something about you
because
because
it allows you to drop into the depth of that gratitude.
it
Mm,
does. It
yeah.
does. Oh, that's good stuff. All right. What's a guilty pleasure? One of your guilty pleasures?
Ooh, guilty pleasure. Hmm. I've recently found oh my gosh, this is great. I've recently found those chocolate-covered strawberries that are frozen called True Fru. Have you
What?
seen? They're so
No.
good. They're in the freezer aisle of almost any grocery store. I have found them in so many places, but just 1 or 2 of those, oh, they're so good. They're so good. I have tried I'm I have a lifetime, challenging relationship with sugar, so I've stayed away from it. However, just having 1 or 2 of these is so delicious. It's such a great celebration and gift to myself.
I will be checking them out. True
Check them out.
fruit,
True Fru. I get
chocolate covered
I
strawberry.
get 0 proceeds from this.
Listen, I'm going later on today to
Let
check
me
this out
tell
and
you,
see if I can
it's
find
so
them.
good. They are very satisfying because they're frozen, they take a
Mhm.
while to so good,
Ooh,
delicious.
good stuff.
That's a
Thank you for
guilty
sharing.
pleasure. You're
Thank you for
welcome.
sharing that.
Great question.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
L The best advice I've ever gotten is honestly to slow down.
Yeah.
It's been the hardest thing for me. It really has. It's been one of the most challenging things, but it has been what has given me presence with the people who are in my life,
Mhm.
given me that appreciation for the moment that I'm in.
Yeah.
It's given me value for the gifts that I have in my life. I think we accumulate so many things and we're so busy going to the next thing, we don't even pay attention to what is actually here right now.
That's so
And I think that slowing down really might be it because it's in those moments of slowing down that we have clarity.
true.
That's
Mhm.
the other thing I hear people asking for all the time. I just want clarity. I want clarity. I want clarity on my next steps, clarity on what my purpose is. And it all starts with pausing. It all starts with slowing down. There's so much magic. And if you think about the moments that were most impactful in your life,
Mhm.
it's either when slowing down was forced on you, like
Mhm.
a loss or a tragedy or
Yeah.
a moment of great um, uh, disappointment.
Mhm.
It's those moments where the outside world actually forces us to slow down. But our power is that we get to choose slowing down. We don't have to wait for it to be imposed on us. We actually get to choose it. And it's pretty powerful.
I love that, and I think that's the perfect place to bring our podcast
Mm.
to an end. That was so, so, so good. Taryn, if there's someone listening, they're like, "I love this lady. How can I get more of her?" Where
Yeah.
can they find you? Where can they find you, Taryn?
Yeah, you can find me at thank you, by the way, Charyse, for asking that. I invite you to join me over at the Business of Happiness podcast. If you love podcasts, which obviously you do, because you're listening to this fabulous woman on the Charyse Williams show. But you're welcome to join me at the Business of Happiness podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And then I'd love to invite you to listen to a beautiful 10-day audio series for free that you can get at, it's called The Morning Drive, and I think it's getthemorningdrive.com. And it's a free audio series on your drive to work, and it really talks about building these skills of slowing down. And I'll give the link to you, Charyse, to
Yeah,
put
we'll
in the
drop it.
show notes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But just as you're driving to work, giving you back that practice, kind of flexing that muscle of learning how to slow down and create safety for yourself in
Mhm.
slowing down.
That is so beautiful. Yeah, we will
Mm,
definitely make sure that we put that down in the show notes. So,
yeah.
Taryn, thank you for your presence, for your the gift of your words, the gifts of your heart. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing your time with us. Just thank you.
Well, thank you for spending this time with me, Cherise.
You're
Such a
very
gift.
welcome. You're very welcome. And for all of you that are listening or watching, as always, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time on another episode of The Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.